Hi-diddly-ho-dily, guess who? It's me again. Hope you're having a decent day. We're back with some more Gish. This time we're going into the Forlorn Hollow, I think it's called. And you remember what I said about, hey, if the video is like 10 minutes long, don't worry, they get longer. This one took me double the time. It was like 20 minutes. Most of the time was spent on just one level. Christ on a cracker. I hate some of the, I hate some of the gameplay mechanics they put in here. We'll get her going. It's not a lot of fun. I really like the music in this area. The music is quite nice. Also, this time I had to get a thing of water because I realized after talking for so long, even just like a 10-minute stretch to 15 minutes, it actually dries out my throat quite a bit. Just not used to that. I really like the idea of the rotating platforms and the mushrooms and stuff that they have here. The aesthetic is super cool. I really enjoy it, the cool blues and stuff. I really enjoy this music. I'm not sure why, but it just like, it's that impending, the drums and the impending kind of like doom, the unsettling atmosphere that it's setting you in. I think I was trying to get up into this chimney to see if I could get in there, and I couldn't really get in there. I think even if I could, I don't believe you can climb up because of the blocks that they present you with. But this time around, they really decide to throw in a lot of these platforms that are strung up to try and get you into the habit of leaping across these gaps. I did try to jump up through the water there to see if I could hold down the space button, if it would make me kind of like explode out of the water and gain some height, but it doesn't. It just makes you a little bit more buoyant. So I went around the side. All of these elevators, rightfully for the reason of this zone, like this world or whatever you want to call it, give me non-stop nightmares. It is so easy to pinch yourself between the wall and that freaking platform. You will die instantaneously, as you are sure to see me do about 4 or 5 times. It's awful. There is nothing better than getting like a super sweet jump and just like having that momentum carry you gracefully over a large gap. Like, that is so satisfying. This level sucks. This level sucks so bad. Originally I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill all the enemies, or at least a decent amount of them. That guy just pretty much committed his own seppuku off my freaking noggin there. This gameplay mechanic is kind of cool. So you can jump up, and if you grab on and use heavy, you can just rip these blocks right off. I think the intended mechanic is to actually take this block right here and basically bounce it away from you in a way that forces it out towards those blocks and launches it so that you're safe. Because at one point or another, I believe I jump up, I try to catch these blocks, and I end up getting crushed underneath that giant block that's going to drop. And the first time that I attempted to do this, I think I spent well over half an hour here. There you go. That's instantaneous. The first time that I tried to do this, I think I spent well over half an hour trying to attempt that, thinking that was the way that you were supposed to do it, not realizing that you could just chuck the block into it. I think every subsequent try after this, I've kind of come at it with like a fervor. I'm just like sick and tired of dying here. I've done it once before. I don't need to do it again. I do think... Oh yeah, I tried to break through the floor there and it didn't really work. See, like, look how quickly I'm getting these blocks down now. Like, every subsequent try after this, I get these blocks down no problem. And the thing is that when you die in this level, you just come straight back to this point. So, like, I hate doing this because it can become such a trek or like a slog to try and get all of the blocks to crumble, like firing this thing in the right direction, just because sometimes Gish just grabs onto the floor like right here and doesn't want to freaking move, and you know, just tossing a block like 50 miles to the right, and it's a huge pain in the ass, or it just goes flying off your body to the left. So it's mildly annoying in the sense of like this sense of urgency. You want to do something quickly, you want to achieve better things. What a shot. I don't know anything about sports. Lionel Messi? I think that's soccer, right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But like every time I go to do that, it just gets better and better. The next little bit of this level is legitimately just platforming. I have no jump off these platforms whatsoever, just because the amount of spring in that rope, I guess, I was going to call it string. Spring in a string is it's too bouncy that in a weird way absorbs every bit of momentum that I could gain off my jump. So I'd pretty much just roll and climb up the rest of them. Like, that was like a full bounce there. I should have gotten something, but I didn't. But it was enough to just get by. At which point, this kind of just catapults you here. This is the bane of my existence. So this elevator, this floating block, plus the 2 blocks that are up above it are the last portion of this level. Like, literally the end of the level is less than a minute in the rightwards direction. And I die here several times because this freaking block does stuff like that. Where you just get sucked up into the wall because it has round edges. And if you're not careful enough, it just eats you in one gulp. It just completely kills you outright. And then guess where we are? Oh joy, back to the rock. This level sucks on so many levels. Like, just so many different ways. But I think I got pretty good. Like, look at this. I'm so good at this point at just doing this. Because I'm so sick of having to do it over and over again. I also took a moment there to watch that stone. For some reason it's buoyant. Who would have known? Not much to say about these levels in general. There's a lot of platforming here that it tries to get you to kind of deal with ideally. I really, really like the feeling of jumping off of the corner of something. When you jump off the corner of something, then it tends to give you like this outward spring in the opposite direction that just feels so satisfying, because like you can jump standing normally, or you can jump on an angle and it just propels you naturally outwards, and it feels so good. This is me trying to get some kind of bounce, and then I figured maybe I could break the rope. Wasn't happening. Just tried to climb up normally. The next world after this place, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'm not gonna be able to read it right off the top of the brainstem, but I think it's called the Hey-Hey-Hihana or something. The something Hihana. It's very, very awkward. And look, I get pinched again because I'm not paying attention to the rounded corner. I hate myself. How many times have I died on this level? It sucks. But yeah, like after this set of levels here, they pretty much just start feeding you lava, which sucks. The lava is an instant kill. Like, if I thought doing this kind of crap was annoying already, oh boy, I can't wait. Because this set of levels took me 20 minutes. The next set is guaranteed to take me probably 40 to an hour. No doubt. Because I have yet to even beat that set of levels yet, like, at all. Like, I will practice those before I come back to record it, guaranteed. Because the last thing I want you guys to see is me struggle my ass off, because I'm struggling my ass off right now and I know these levels. So that can only spell disaster. Something interesting I started to realize when playing this game that I didn't... It was when I started watching the recording back that I didn't really notice before, is that back onto the subject of dynamic lighting, like, there's a little light blotch that's supposed to... it's supposed to act as like a reflecting light in the on the surface of Gish. And it is this little circle, and it'll be the color of whatever light that you're in, but then it'll also appear to varying strengths and stuff in the direction of the actual light. So when the light gets taken away, there's no more reflective... what is that called? When you color something and a highlight. There we go. There's no reflective highlight. But then, like, the farther away that you get from something, when it's in clearly visible line of sight, it gets dimmer and dimmer until it disappears as well. For a Flash game that was created back in the day, that's super impressive. Like, it's those minor attentions to detail that are, like, super, super cool in my eyes. That's really neat. I think this level was more water than anything else. There might have been a couple of areas in this one that really tripped me up. I always had this idea that I should try and kill all the enemies, but the more that I began to play the game, the more I realized... Oh, pardon me, I just yawned. The more I began to realize, like, if you just get through the level, that's probably for the best. If the enemies are in the way, then go out of your way to get rid of them, I guess, because obviously they're going to prevent you from doing what you need to do, but for the most part, what's the point, you know? I'm always somewhat skeptical about these switches and things as well, because in general, sometimes you go to hit them, and the way that your body acts and the way that the switch acts, you just kind of repel the switch, and you can't get it to switch down, or like sometimes you have to switch it up, and you're like, well, how do I do that? You have to get underneath it and then like spring up into it using the heavy mechanic in a way that like repels it away from you and activates it in that direction, and it's somewhat awkward, and I can never quite tell when I'm looking at the switches what is the best way to do it. This is not a bad puzzle, like it's neat because you have to pick it up and float it up to the top, but I found it awkward because for me trying to get this stone up was not necessarily easy. And then given the fact that this one has weight whereas the other one did not, if you don't grab onto it just right and stop moving, it just slings it out of your hand and you got to go back to grab it. I think like this, yeah, so this time I just gently let it go and it just rolls into where I want it to be, and that was all happy and good. Yeah, so for a lot of these enemies, I just decided to hell with it. You guys are going to come into the water and deal with your own shit. You go ahead. I took a moment to think that I might need to go up there and then realized it was just points. Oh, yawning like crazy. That's not a good sign. It is fairly late at night right now and I need to be getting to go to bed, but told myself that I would at least record this last little bit because at least it was still somewhat fresh in my brain. Yeah. I just don't have time for those enemies anymore. So what is that, 3 levels down? 4th level? Yeah, 4th level of the second area. Oh yeah, more puzzle boxes. Some of these puzzles are actually super, super cool. I really enjoy these because they're light enough that like you don't sit there and drive yourself absolutely bonkers trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. But at the same time, they are somewhat thought-provoking in the lightest sense that you're just like, oh, okay, I understand now. Like if I had gone to the button on the right-hand side, it would open the second gate. I would have noticed, oh, I gotta get that out of there. The hardest part of this switch is if you put the boxes in the wrong place and have to dig that box out, it can be quite a pain in the ass. For the most part, these aren't too bad. I think there is an area in here where I slide down a little like gutter pipe, and I slide down so quickly that Gish actually manages to pinch himself and take damage, and then I became paranoid that I was gonna die and have to do all this all over again, so then I started to slow down. I feel like that's both good and bad game design, in the sense that like you want the game to feel so good that if you wanted to go fast you could, and really build that momentum for those jumps that just feel amazing. But if you go too fast, because of the way that he functions, he squishes under a box or something and takes damage. And if you do that just right, he'll permanently pinch himself and die. And it's like that paranoia of thinking, okay, am I going to kill myself or will I be able to get away with this? That's absolutely terrifying, especially when you're like knee deep into a difficult level and you don't know how much further you have to go. I didn't know if this elevator was going to come back to crush me or not, but thank God it only goes in one direction. Speaking of elevators, welcome to an actual elevator, and it's slow as balls. It's like the slowest freaking elevator ever. I think the music goes through 2 rotations here, so it's just ending this rotation, and the music will start over again, and it'll go through a second rotation by the time this thing makes it to where it needs to be. Maybe not fully, but generally you get the idea. I do like the mechanic though, where the actual elevators and things like the stuff on the ropes and stuff like that, like they all have their own physics, I guess. Like the rope is kind of spongy, bouncy, not rubbery in a sense, but it has some spring, but it's also taut, that if it was to be strained too much, it would break. The chains are strong, have some buoyancy in the sense that, you know, it's not a background item or a foreground item. It's actually physically in the world that you can glide things off of it. I believe the last level through this area, through the Forlorn hollow, is similar to the minecart level, and I'm wondering if that's a theme. Like there is every last level that takes you to another area is like a mobility level. So the first one after the first boss was minecart. And so this next one after this boss would be, oh, what the heck is that thing? It's like a gondola. I hate this. I hate that I did that to myself, just trying to be fancy and rush. We have 1 life remaining. We will likely lose this last life when we get to to the next place there. And the reason I chose easy mode is because when you lose all of your lives and you have to use a continue, and you have unlimited continues, on easy mode, it'll restart you on the level that you are currently on so you can continue with your current progress and just keep moving from there. Many tries as you want. It's basically infinite mode. If you choose the normal difficulty setting, you'll go back to the beginning of the zone. So at the beginning of each zone from a fresh game, you start with 5 lives. So if I was to die here, and this is like the fourth or fifth level, then it would set me all the way back to the beginning, and I'd have to do that rock throwing shenanigans all over again, as well as everything else, all those freaking elevators that I keep getting crushed by, and then this, and then the boss, etc., etc. It is painstaking, very, very difficult. And then I think the hardest difficulty, just being hard, appropriately named, is if you die, you just run out of lives, you have to start again, I believe. Super arcadey in that sense. Not my cup of tea. Not anymore, anyway. That guy actually just fell down at such a speed and angle that he broke his neck on landing. More boxes. These are similar to the ones that we saw in the very beginning of the zone, but these ones aren't tied to each other. More or less, they're tied to the actual roof. So you've got to get that good bounce, and then you've got to find yourself able to climb across these. And that was where that jump comes in handy, where you can jump on a corner into an angle and gain so much more upwards momentum. It is fantastic. I think this is where I start to go so fast I hurt myself. Yep. And for shits and giggles, you know, because I've gone through this entire playthrough thus far not really grabbing any points, I may as well go the route with points. Because I know there's going to be some people out there that are more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling, man. I think this is the boss. Well, it'd be one of them blobby things. Har, 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 this one won't be getting away so easy, nah. Why you be looking so worried there? And I pushed enter again here, because you push enter to skip through everything else, and it pauses the freaking game. There it is. It's just space, you dum-dum. I be just looking to talk, Saul. Har, har, har. Good old Paunchy gonna be cooking up some terrific gumbo this night, I guarantee. And then Gish has nothing to say because, well, Gish knows I'm the hero of the story. Can't possibly defeat me. This is actually a bit scary in this area. You are the only sense of illuminated light, and this thing can float through walls. Thank God he doesn't do that much damage, but I was kind of scared of losing the only one life that I've got, and then realizing that maybe I do have to repeat everything from the previous zone. And we got up here, and then I got pinned because I started to repel the switch rather than push it. Thank God for that, and he is dead. I feel like a lot of the bosses are very simple. This one was easy in the sense it was just like, hey, it's dark, figure out where you gotta go, which is literally one direction, and then you win by flipping the switch. This is a really cool mobility level. Look at this. So it's like a foreground item, but it acts physically and catches this thing, so it's kind of like a gondola. I love it. That's so cool. That being said, I have never once gone to the left side of that. I don't know what's on the left. Other than this one-up that's coming up around here. That I could technically grab, but I didn't want to. The whole area underneath us is lava. There's, if we were to fall, we would just immediately die. And that's that. So that was the Forlorn Hollow. Now we have the 7 planes of Hehena. Is that how you say that? Hehena? Hehena? Something like that. Either way, that was that, and that was about 20 minutes long of me trying to figure out what in the diddly I was doing. The next area is guaranteed going to take me probably like 30 to 40 minutes if I get it down well, if my movements are good, if it's going to be tough. I think, if I recall right, I want to say 28 levels, because there's a special mode you can enter called collection mode where it brings up every level, so you can go in and try to collect every piece of amber, every chunk of health, every secret, so on and so forth, and get unlockables through that. So it just lets you drop into any one level and explore all the levels individually. I believe there's 28 levels. If that's true, then right now we're on level 15. That's exciting. We're halfway done the game. Who knows how long it's going to take to beat the other half. I know I've seen some videos on YouTube, and they don't look friendly at all. So I'm looking forward to that, because anybody that knows me knows that the Lord knows I can take a game that's super simple and make it have an extremely steep learning curve. But that's more or less just me. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. I've been Michael, you've been awesome, this has been Gish. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.